Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Monta Noble Voyager. This watch is available from montawatch.com for €2,115. Monta are a well-established micro-brand. They were founded in 2016. They're based in America and their watches are Swiss made. So firstly, let's look at the leather travel roll that the watch came in, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the watch came in this genuine leather travel roll, which is made from Italian calf leather. Monta developed this with Everest Horology products, and as you can see, it's very high quality. The interior has a suede effect to the tan tone, and the base is upholstered with a contrasting tan tone velour fabric to a good standard. Two sliding padded pillow cushions, as you can see, which are Rolex style shaped, and they compress very well, so they'll fit between a 6 and 8 inch wrist size. So quality is very good. Now this is available from montawatch.com for €281, and it's a very high quality genuine leather travel roll. So with regards to the items you get with the watch, it also comes with this Monta branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth irrespective of the price point of the piece. So as you can see, it says Monta Swiss made, and in the corner we have the Swiss flag because, as I've detailed, Monta are based in America but their watches are Swiss made. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, we have a 38.5mm case diameter. We have a lug-to-lug measurement of 47mm, a thickness of 11mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The oyster style bracelet tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to 16mm at the flip lock clasp. The flip lock on the clasp is signed to a high standard with the Monta emblem engraved with high definition engraving, and it's also a micro adjustment clasp which we will be testing. We have a flat sapphire crystal with 7 layers of AR coating. Now just think about that for a moment. Often micro brands at this price point in the mid-tier at €2,115 would have 1 or 2 layers of AR coating on the underside of the sapphire crystal. This has an incredible 7 layers, which is the very best of AR coating. The anti-reflective coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver mirror polished applied indices and the silver mirror polished handset. The GMT hour hand is easy to differentiate from the 12-hour hands because it is partially skeletonized, and as you can see, the proportions of the handset are very good. So this piece weighs 139 grams and it is covered by a 2-year international warranty, which is very good. Often at this price point one would expect a 12-month international warranty, so to get 2 years of international warranty is very good, and Monta deserve full credit for that. With regards to the finishing to the head of the piece, it is exceptional at this price point. The bezel is solid 316L grade stainless steel, nice flat profile to the mirror polished top of it, and the edges to it have an undercut which is also mirror polished, nice low profile bezel, and it complements the flat sapphire crystal which has a bevel on the edge of it which catches the light, so very aesthetically pleasing. The benefit of using a flat sapphire crystal rather than boxed top hat profile or alternatively double dome sapphire crystal is this is a very low profile piece for an automatic GMT complication piece. It is only 11mm thick. It's one of my favourite aspects of this Noble Voyager, the 11mm thickness. Often GMT automatic pieces are 13mm, but really to get 11mm of thickness and 150 meters of water resistance is very impressive. Brushed satin finishing to the flanks is longitudinal, nice fine grain finish, beautiful luster to it, and the quality of the finishing is exceptional. Nice large mirror polished bevel which runs the full length of the top edge of the case, and that marks the transition between the top of the lugs, which are brushed satin finished, and the flanks. The undercut has a nice mirror polished chamfer to it, so no sharp edge to the undercut, and the tips of the 4 lugs are chamfered and deburred to a very good standard. So to put the case finishing into perspective, we're looking at Rolex, Tudor or Omega level case finishing. The brushed satin finishing and mirror polishing is outstanding. The crown is solid 316L grade stainless steel, knurled finish. It has a slight conical profile to it rather than being straight and parallel. Does feel grippy and tactile due to the knurling. Correctly proportioned, it doesn't project too far from the right hand flank of the case, but the proportions are good because you can get good purchase with your index finger and thumb to unscrew it and screw it back down, as well as manually wind it. Mirror polished domed cap to it, and we have the Monta emblem engraved with high definition engraving to a good standard, and it's nicely chamfered, so the tips of the knurled teeth, they don't dig into the index finger or thumb, they don't feel sharp, but they are grippy and tactile. So let's test the screw down crown execution. The screw down crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 150 metres, and again, Monta deserve credit here because this is a daily wear piece with a GMT complication. 50 metres or 100 metres of hermetic seal would have sufficed, and a push-pull crown would have been acceptable for a daily wear piece, but they've enhanced this with a screw down crown on 150 metres, which is very strong specification. So when the crown's unscrewed, one can manually wind the Monta caliber M23 automatic. Feels very smooth. Now, in terms of resistance, you can feel the tension of the mainspring gradually building up. It feels very similar to other Sellita calibers, such as the SW200-1, which you'll be familiar with. Alternatively, the SW330-1, which this is based upon. The Monta caliber M23 is based upon the SW330-1, which is Swiss made. So one can feel the tension gradually building up to its maximum 56-hour power reserve, which is very impressive. Nice firm resistance to the gearing, feels nice and robust, good tight movement, so it feels very good, very smooth to manually wind. Pulling it out to the first click position is the quick set date complication. Now, this piece has a quick set date, but it also has a quick set GMT hour hand, which is skeletonized. So, rotating the crown anti-clockwise, if you look closely at the date window, which is framed in silver at 6 o'clock, you can see the quick set date clicks over with a nice positive click. It feels nice and light. In terms of the feeling of it, it feels very similar to a Sellita SW200-1. It's got that kind of light feeling to it, and I like it, nice and positive. The alignment of the Arabic numerals, both the singles and the doubles, are correct. They're not too far to the left or the right of the framing of the date window, and the singles also align correctly. They're not too high or too low, and not too far to the left or the right of the framed date window. So alignment is good. Proportions of the black Arabic numerals are very good. They contrast very well with the white date wheel. So we're now in the date setting position, but if you rotate the crown clockwise, it also is the quick set GMT hour hand position. And if you look at the dial, you can see the skeletonized GMT hour hand, which has a white tip to it, can be set quickly. So you can easily cycle through the 24 hours to set the GMT hour hand independently, and that is able to be done without hacking the movement. You can see the second hand is still running. So you can leave the 12-hour time setting position as it is, static, and then you can rotate the GMT hour hand independently, which is very good. Pulling it out to the second click position is the final click, and that hacks the movement. If you look at the second hand, you can see it's now stopped dead, so it's possible to set the time precisely to the second with the Monta caliber M23 automatic. Nice light resistance to the gearing, minimal friction. It feels smooth, both clockwise and anti-clockwise, and you can also move the GMT hour hand through the 24 hours of rotation by cycling through the 12 hours if you don't want to use the quick set complication. So it feels nice and light, minimal backplay. That's something I really like about the caliber M23, which is based upon the SW330-1. There's no discernible difference. You can feel that there isn't a lot of backplay. When you rotate the crown clockwise and anti-clockwise, there is some slight backplay, so you have to take up some slight slack, but there's nearly an immediate response of the minute hand when you rotate the crown, so it feels nice and tight. Good meshing of the gearing in the movement. It doesn't have too much slack. So it does feel very good to manually wind, hack the movement, set the time, and also the quick set date and quick set GMT hour hand also work very well. Let's test pushing it back down. Nice positive click. Immediate thread pickup between the internal thread of the stainless steel crown and the external thread of the stainless steel crown tube. This screw down crown is silky smooth. To put it into perspective, it is every bit as good as a Rolex, Tudor or Omega screw down crown. It feels very similar to the silky smooth action of a Rolex triplock crown. That is the quality of the build quality, machining, tolerances, quality control. They could not improve upon this. They deserve full credit because it's the kind of quality screw down crown one would expect with a high tier piece costing €10,000 plus. But this is a mid-tier piece costing €2,115. So sublime screw down crown execution. So let's look at the case back. Now this uses an exhibition case back, and I'm pleased to report they haven't used the cost-cutting measure of glazing it with mineral crystal. This is glazed with sapphire crystal. So we have sapphire crystal on the front with 7 layers of AR, and we also have sapphire crystal in the exhibition case back. The exhibition case back provides an effective hermetic seal to 150 metres, which again is strong specification. They could have used the cost-cutting measure of a stainless steel case back with 50 metres or 100 metres of hermetic seal. 150 is strong specification for a daily wear piece. The exhibition case back does a good job of displaying the caliber M23 automatic. Now, it's an undecorated movement. There's no pelage finishing or blued screws on the bridges, but however, Monta have signed the rotor with an engraved Monta emblem, which is inlaid with gilt, and it's also got milled stripes, which are like Geneva stripes, to add some interest to the signed rotor. So, very aesthetically pleasing rotor. Now, the stainless steel portion of the exhibition case back is concentric CNC lathe tool machined to a good standard. I like the way the concentric CNC lathe tool machining refracts the light. The circumference is engraved with high definition engraving with the specification of the piece. The thing I most like about it is it's incredibly flat and low profile. This is one of the flattest low profile exhibition case backs I have ever seen on a watch, with 150 metres of hermetic seal. Just incredible. Now bear in mind, this is the kind of case back one would see on a manual wind or a quartz powered piece. That's how flat and low profile it is. But bear in mind, it needs adequate clearance to clear the rotor because this is an automatic. And it's just incredibly flat. Now the benefit of it being so flat is this piece is only 11mm thick. One would expect a GMT automatic with a date complication to be 13mm plus. 11mm is incredibly low profile, but this isn't 50 metres or 100 metres. This is 150 metres water resistant. So the stainless steel portion is very well finished, no sharp edges, no burrs to it. And the flat sapphire crystal means it's very comfortable and smooth against the wrist. It feels very comfortable to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. The engraving is also nicely polished. It doesn't have any sharp edges to it. So incredible flat exhibition case back. It doesn't have a bubble back profile. The solid end links are female, and they use standard spring bars, so one needs a spring bar tool. Quality of the finishing to the female pivoted end links is very good. They're a nice tight fit to the head of the piece. The underside to the head of the piece is brush satin finish to perfection. Nice mirror polished chamfers to the edges of the undercuts, and the tips of the lugs have nice large chamfers, so that means they don't have sharp corners which dig into the wrist. Quality of the finishing is Rolex level case finishing, outstanding at this price point. Right, so let's look at the bracelet and clasp in detail. So female pivoted end links articulate smoothly. They don't have excessive lateral, side to side, up and down or longitudinal play. They don't feel stiff or kink, and as you can see, the benefit of using female pivoted end links versus male end links is this has a very good lug to lug measurement of 47. It's close to the perfect sweet spot of 48. So rather like a Tudor Black Bay female pivoted end link, they articulate very smoothly, and the end link in the oyster style bracelet can pull snug underneath the tips of the lugs to get a sublime fit. Beautiful luster to the brush satin finishing to the top side, underside and flanks, and nice fine grained finish to the longitudinal brush satin finishing. Absolutely gorgeous. This really is Rolex level brush satin finishing. Now the thing I like about it is on the edge of the flanks they have nice large mirror polished chamfers to the edges, and that means there's no sharp edge to the top edge of the links and the lower edge of the links on the flanks. The bracelet doesn't pull arm hairs. It articulates very smoothly. Screw pins are good. I'm pleased to see they didn't use the cost-cutting measure of push pins in the bracelet. Now, it articulates smoothly with no stiff links, or it doesn't kink, but doesn't feel sloppy. So the bracelet doesn't rattle, but articulates freely. Let's check the other side for continuity. Again, female pivoted end links articulate very smoothly, rather like your Tudor Black Bay. That's the level of refinement. Nice interference fit with the pin going through the centre link of the female pivoted end link. Very smooth articulation, doesn't have excessive lateral, longitudinal, side to side or up and down play. Bracelet doesn't rattle. It's not a sloppy bracelet. Beautiful luster, no sharp edge to the top edge or the lower edge of the flanks. Doesn't pull arm hair. Articulates freely. doesn't kink. This is an example to other microbrands in the mid-tier at this price point, €2,115, of how to get an oyster bracelet correct. Tolerances, build quality, quality control, finishing are all perfection. They deserve full credit for a very well executed oyster style bracelet. This is every bit as good as a Rolex oyster bracelet or alternatively a Tudor Black Bay bracelet. So let's look at the clasp. Beautiful brushed satin finishing to the top side, underside and flanks. Nice fine grained finish, so nice luster to it, and the quality of the engraving to the Monta emblem on the flip lock is high definition. Nice large mirror polished bevel, which marks the transition between the body and the flanks, and good heavy gauge to the 316L grade stainless steel. Doesn't have any sharp edges, sharp corners are deburred very well, so very well proportioned. Now this is a micro adjustment clasp, which is good. Let's check that. Solid milled 316L grade stainless steel interior, mirror polished to the top side, underside and flanks, and also signed internally with the Monta logo, as you can see, high definition engraving. No sharp edges to the flanks, and it doesn't have sharp corners to the centre section. Let's check the hinge pins. Left hand hinge pin articulates smoothly, doesn't have additional play. Centre hinge pin articulates smoothly, doesn't have excessive play. Let's lastly check the right hand pin. Articulates smoothly, doesn't have additional play. Perfect. This is again an example to other microbrands of how to get it correct. Good tolerances, build quality, quality control and finishing throughout. Left, centre and right hinge pins are tight. Interference fit is correct. Now the thing I most like about this is it's a micro adjustment clasp, rather like a Rolex Glide Lock clasp, as you can see. So we've got one full link of adjustment in the micro adjustment. Let's test it. Deploys with a nice light click, closes with a nice click. Now this refinement really is Rolex Glide Lock refinement level, or alternatively Tudor T-Fit, which they use on the Black Bay. Outstanding. Now the thing I most like about it is, and I really want to bring this to your attention, if you look closely, now it's difficult to show you because of the shadow, but internally there is a ceramic ball bearing. The only time I have seen a watch brand use ceramic ball bearings in a clasp is with the Tudor Black Bay. They use it on the Black Bay Heritage, the Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay 54, for example. Now the benefits of using ceramic ball bearings rather than 316L grade stainless steel is ceramic is a harder material than 316L grade stainless steel. Therefore, they're not going to wear down in time as per steel ball bearings. Ceramic is a very hard wearing ball bearing material. But of course it adds significant production cost. But this is evidence that Monta do not cut production costs. They are trying to make the very best possible piece at this price point in the mid-tier. Now, the benefit of the ceramic is, in 5 years or 10 years time of regular daily use, of deploying and snapping in this clasp, the ceramic ball bearings are not going to wear down as steel ones would do, and therefore you'd get a sloppy fit. So this is always going to be nice and crisp, clicking in and out for 5 to 10 years time. Ceramic ball bearings really are the very best, and that's why Tudor are using them in the Black Bay watches. So incredible to see this at a mid-tier price point of €2,115. So it moves in and out, but it's not smooth because it has a clicking ratcheting mechanism. So there are 3 heavy clicks. Now the clicks feel very positive. They've got a nice audible sound. So you can select the 3 different positions with the heavy clicks, and it's really satisfying because it doesn't flow freely up and down. It's not smooth. You have to push it with a medium resistance, but you can feel each click. So you've got one full length to get the micro adjustment perfect, and this just feels so refined because you don't have to force it out and force it back in again. It's just got nice refined action to it. Now the other thing is, and I want to give due credit to Monta here, they've also included a half link either side of the bracelet, one on the 6 o'clock side, one on the 12 o'clock side. With the case of oyster style bracelets, it's often the case that one can't get the correct fit by adding or subtracting one full link. The bracelet will either be too tight or too loose, but by having a half link either side of the clasp, you can fine tune the fit because you can add and subtract half a link either side. The other benefit is, when on wrist, often when you resize the bracelet will be too far to the 6 o'clock or the 12 o'clock side. It won't sit centrally on wrist. But by having a half link either side, you can fine tune the position of the clasp after resizing the bracelet, so you can get it bang on the center of your wrist. It doesn't sit offset to the 6 or the 12 o'clock side. So I'm really pleased to see a half link included either side, in the addition to the micro adjustment clasp, which of course gives one full link of on the fly adjustment. So this is an outstanding, well thought through system. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, I haven't sized the bracelet, and I'm pleased to report that this easily fits up to an 8.5-inch wrist, because I can easily slide an index finger beneath a bracelet and clasp at all times. So the maximum this will fit is an 8.5-inch wrist. Bear in mind, this is now on the maximum extension of the micro adjustment clasp. It's got one full link of adjustment, so I'm now at its absolute maximum. But plenty of links, so if you have a 8-inch plus wrist, you're going to have no difficulty whatsoever. So thing to note is, this is a very comfortable piece to wear. The wrist presence is good at 38.5. It doesn't feel top heavy. It feels very well balanced on the Oyster style bracelet because it has the perfect 20 to 16 taper. This is the industry standard for good reason. It is perfection personified. 20 to 16 is the perfect taper for a 38.5mm head of the piece. As you can see, the 7 layers of AR coating is incredible. It does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the mirror polished applied indices and the mirror polished handset. The green sunburst dial is very interesting because it changes from a dark olive green to a lighter avocado green depending on the light conditions, and I love the green sunburst tone, very aesthetically pleasing. I like the large bevel on the edge of the sapphire crystal because when you tilt the piece at an oblique angle, the bevel on the flat sapphire crystal catches the light and it projects well above the flat profile to the mirror polished bezel, so very aesthetically pleasing. So legibility is good. Feel good factor of this watch is outstanding, and also the comfort level is outstanding due to the flat sapphire crystal in the exhibition case back. So it sits very low profile. Now, the thing I like about this piece, above all else, it is only 11mm thick, and as I've detailed, this is exceptional, and Monta deserve credit for this because this is a GMT complication piece with a date complication, and it's an automatic. We're not looking at a manual wind or a quartz pad piece. I would expect this to be 13. 11mm. This is one of the thinnest automatic GMT powered pieces I have seen on my channel. So fantastic. Needless to say, 11mm will easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. So this is the perfect daily wear piece with a date complication and GMT hour hand. So legibility is good. You can clearly differentiate between the skeletonized white tip of the GMT hour hand and the regular 12-hour hands. So legibility is good, proportions are good, AR coating works well. Feel good factor of this watch really is outstanding. It's so comfortable and also looks very good. Beautiful luster to the Oyster style bracelet links and also the clasp. The thing I like about the clasp is the proportion of it. Even if you have a smaller 6 to 7 inch wrist, it's not too long, too wide or too tall. It's not a bulky micro adjustment clasp. It's low profile. Very similar in proportions to a Rolex Glide Lock and every bit as good as the quality of a Rolex Glide Lock in terms of operation and also the finishing to it overall. The luster, the mirror polishing to the bevels, and also the deburring and chamfering of it. And the execution of the mechanism works very well with the ceramic ball bearings. This is as good as a Tudor Black Bay T-Fit clasp or alternatively a Rolex Glide Lock clasp used on the Submariner dates. So bracelet is exceptional, clasp is exceptional. It's the kind of bracelet and clasp one would expect on a high-tier piece costing €10,000 plus. That is the quality we're looking at. So Rolex, Tudor or Omega level finishing at the mid-tier, price point of €2,115. So I really like the heft, 139 grams. Now, needless to say, anything below 150 grams is the sweet spot because 150 grams or below means the piece will be comfortable to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. At 139 grams, this is well below the 150 gram sweet spot, and needless to say, if you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist, you're going to be removing 4 or 5 links. That will reduce it further to below 130 grams. So, lightweight piece, despite being 38.5 with the oyster style bracelet and also the solid micro adjustment clasp. So very comfortable, very well balanced, doesn't feel top heavy, and only 11mm thick. The perfect proportion piece. It's only 1mm below the perfect sweet spot of 48 on the lug to lug. It's 47. So this will fit you if you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist or a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. Right, so let's do a Lume test and we'll see how the Lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So this uses BGW9 Super Lume Nova. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. We're clearly looking at 5 to 6 layers of BGW9 on this silver mirror polished applied indices and this silver mirror polished handset. Now, good attention to detail here, because if you look at the skeletonized GMT hour hand, you can clearly see that the tip of it, which is white in daylight conditions, is fully lumed with BGW9. Now, the benefit of it being skeletonized is you can immediately tell in the daylight and also in the dark which is the 12-hour hand and which is the GMT hour hand. You can differentiate between the two. And it's done very well because we have the solid BGW9 on the 12-hour hand, but on the GMT hour hand, it's skeletonized and just the tip of it is BGW9 lumed. So one can immediately tell which is the GMT hour hand, which is the 12-hour hand in the dark and also in daylight. Good symmetry to the dial with a date complication at 6, and we've even got an index below the date window at 6, so the symmetry is perfect. They've made the correct decision by citing the date complication at 6 rather than the default position of 3 because it retains the symmetry of the dial. Also like the double applied indices at 12 o'clock because it gives good orientation to the dial. You can immediately register where 12 o'clock is on the dial, and that helps with reading the time in the dark. So very good presentation in terms of the execution, the proportions, the legibility, the symmetry of the dial, all outstanding. 5 to 6 layers is very good. In daylight conditions, there's a perfect colour tone match of the BGW9. It's white on the indices and white on the handset, so the match is good. It doesn't look cream or white on the dial or hands. The white matches perfectly. In the dark, you can see the exciter in the BGW9 is also perfectly matched. Nice blue tone to the indices, and it matches the blue tone on the hands. Perfect blue colour tone match. The exciter is glowing very brightly, and this is the benefit of using the optimum 5 to 6 layers. Now, I'm pleased to report that Monta haven't done what many microbrands do in the mid-tier, of using 3 to 4 layers as a production cost cutting measure in order to reduce production costs and maximise profit margin per piece. This is 5 to 6 layers. There are no cost cutting measures here whatsoever. Monta have tried to make the very best performance. And of course it's further enhanced by the use of 7 layers of AR on the underside of the sapphire crystal. The industry standard is 1 to 2 layers at this price point in the mid-tier. 7 layers is the very best. So it's not reflective, and the clarity, as you can see, and the legibility of the BGW9 is therefore enhanced by the 7 layers of AR. So outstanding. It's not fading whatsoever. Stellar performance, and I really like it. Right, so let's discuss the movement used. So, as I've detailed, this is powered by the Monta Caliber M23 automatic, which is a GMT complication movement with a date complication. It's based upon the Solita Caliber SW330-1, which has been in service since 2015. So at this stage, in 2025, it has 10 years of service. No reliability issues reported. The build quality, quality control and reliability of the M23 and the SW330-1, which it is based upon, are exceptional. 56-hour power reserve is very impressive. So you could wear this piece for 2 or 3 days and take it off the wrist for 2 or 3 days, and it still has 56 hours of power reserve, so very good power reserve. The other thing is it's very accurate. It's plus or minus 5 seconds per day accuracy, and I'll talk about the regulation. So it has 25 joules, it runs at 28,800 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 4 Hz. The benefit of it being 4 Hz is it has a nice smooth sweep to the second hand. It doesn't stutter or judder around the dial as per a 3 Hz sweep. It has hand winding and hacking, which use for complications, and they work very well. It also has a quick set date complication and a quick set GMT hour hand, which I demonstrated also work very well. I really like the 56-hour power reserve, but I also like the accuracy. Plus or minus 5 seconds per day. Now, Monta are doing a very good job of regulating the caliber M23s they're using. This one is running consistently at plus 5 seconds per day, which is well within the plus or minus 5 seconds per day stated accuracy. So they're regulating the movements in 5 positions. Plus 5 is actually within chronometer grade accuracy of minus 4 to plus 6. So 56-hour power reserve, chronometer accurate at plus 5. It is outstanding. They've made the correct choice by basing the caliber M23 on the Sellita SW330-1. It is a reliable, well-proven Swiss caliber. 10 years of service, no reliability issues. The build's quality control, materials and finishing are all excellent. And also I like the finishing of the signed rotor with the Monta emblem in gilt and also the Geneva stripes to add interest to it. Good to see the sapphire crystal displaying it because it is a beautiful rotor. So, excellent movements. No negatives to it whatsoever. 56 hours is good power reserve. Plus 5 seconds per day is incredibly accurate. So, last I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So, mid-tier piece, the price point is €2,115. Yes, this is unquestionably excellent quality, and yes, it is unquestionably excellent value at €2,115. The specification of this piece is absolutely loaded. 7 layers of AR coating is exceptional at this price point. This is one of the best low-profile exhibition casebacks I have ever seen at this price point. Sapphire crystal glazed, not mineral crystal glazed, 150 meters, but it is incredibly flat. So this piece is only 11 millimeters. Now, the head of the piece, the bezel, the caseback, the bracelet and the clasp are finished to perfection. As I've detailed, this is a Rolex Oyster level bracelet, this is a Rolex Glide Lock level clasp. So we're looking at high tier level finishing, build quality, quality control, specification and materials at a mid-tier price point. Incredible. Really, this piece cannot be beaten at €2,115. For a GMT date complication piece with 150 meters of water resistance, this is the perfect daily wear piece. No negatives to it whatsoever. I would not change anything about it. It is the perfect daily wear GMT piece. So I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Monta Noble Voyager. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you for watching.